Looks like you've had enough. What's your room number? I'll make sure you get there safe and sound.
Stand up. Sam B got the thing that go bump in the night.
From a distance, Banoi looks like a holidaymaker's paradise, a tropical island in a sparkling blue ocean, home to a luxury beach resort. Get closer though and you'll spot blood on the sand, and on the walls, and in the swimming pools. Zombies are shambling around by the beach bars. They're munching on corpses by the surf shack. Time to rethink that vacation. Much like its once idyllic location, Dead Island isn't as it first appears. It's got zombies in it, but it's not a survival horror game. It's played in a first-person perspective, and it does have shooting, but it's not a first-person shooter. And whatever that slow-motion trailer would have you believe, it is not a stirring emotional experience. Dead Island is a schlocky open-world action role-playing game that favours gruesome melee combat above all things. Its expansive sandbox setting spreads inland beyond the Royal Palms Resort into city and jungle environments. Its RPG nature is clear in the prominence of quests and quest hubs. These are makeshift sanctuaries with harrowed survivors as quest givers. You'll also find RPG staples like talent trees and numbers, always the numbers. Levels, weapon stats, damage and experience point scores popping out of enemies as you hack away. There are also satisfyingly vicious weapons to be improvised, upgraded and creatively modded, and a robust online system to support the 4-player co-op in which the game is best enjoyed. Its failings are many but minor for the most part. The quality of visuals is uneven, ditto voice acting.
That's the last one? Okay then. Thanks, mates.
The characters are weak, the story a flimsy hook on which to hang the action. Combat is far from refined, and never more so than in the humdrum sections that pit you against shooty human enemies, barely smarter than their undead equivalents. All the flaws and missteps amount to a game that's frequently ropey, but, thanks to its ambition and scale, nearly always entertaining. The bulk of your time on Banoi is spent exploring and questing, roaming from hub to hub, foraging items to build weapons or complete missions. Sometimes zombies will be avoidable. You can often run around them, amassing a slavering, jogging zombie horde in your wake. More fun, though, is hopping into one of the game's multi-seater vehicles, mowing down the undead as you bomb along the island's roads. Dead Island also shines in missions that have you risk life and limb in a sortie to a petrol station, again best experienced in co-op. Here you might park up in the forecourt, then fend off waves of the walking dead while your buddies fill up petrol cans and toss them in the back of the truck. Though there are guns to be had in the game's selection of weapons, these arrive relatively late. Melee and throwing weapons are the order of the day. Basic weapons such as knives, scythes and baseball bats are found lying around rather than being crafted from scratch, but can be modified at workbenches found in hubs, creating nail-spiked bats and machetes that deliver paralysing electric shocks. Weapons degrade irritatingly fast over time. A prized weapon you've upgraded and modded to the max might not last too long once you break the cover of a quest hub, leaving you to improvise with scavenged hat stands and oars. In combat itself, injuries are dynamic and gruesomely vivid, encouraging you to lop off limbs and heads. That combat is only mildly clunky comes as a surprise. There aren't many successes in the field of first-person brawling. It's grimly satisfying to slice off a zombie's arms with a single well-aimed swipe, but the system would benefit from a more refined way to block and dodge. As it is, mastery comes from closely watching enemy attack animations, jumping out of the way where possible, and punting charging zombies back with a well-timed kick in the face. Kicks, in fact, become the unlikely centrepiece of your arsenal, in virtue of being nigh on uninterruptible and at zero cost to stamina. Swinging other weapons, especially heavy ones, drains your stamina bar along with sprinting. Weapons can be thrown too. From time to time you'll find yourself at low health, furiously backpedaling while you lob the contents of your inventory at your pursuer. They can be recovered from his corpse later. Yes! When guns do show up later in the game, they are only passable. There'd be a welcome change of pace in combat if they didn't come hand in hand with the living, breathing human enemies carrying them. Like many a zombie movie, Dead Island is determined to teach us that humans are the real monsters, so you occasionally face off against gangs of smugglers, guards and opportunist punks.
The most dangerous animals out there are human. And I don't mean the dead ones.
but the clashes are mostly tedious sweep and clears, turning a brisk action game into a so-so shooter. You level up quickly thanks in part to frequent checkpointing and minimal penalties for dying. Die and you'll generally be respawned a few meters from where you dropped. It's a generous system, though it minimises any sense of dread or tension. Those remaining traces of terror, if any, are wiped out by the characters themselves, who run the gamut from flat to flat and obnoxious.
Oh, man. I used to be on top of the world, brother. All-pro quarterback 4 years running. Voted the sexiest Texan in 2004. Man, I beat out Dennis Quaid and Matthew McConaughey, for Christ's sake.
The game starts stronger than it finishes, with the first act host to the best-looking, most open-feeling location, the beach resort itself. On the other hand, later acts deliver the blueprints for the best mods, meaning you'll at least have exotic hardware for hacking through the enemy in the second act's overlong, underfun sewer sections. Besides, you can start a second game with all the inventory and character progress of your first, letting you do battle with level-appropriate enemies and your best weapons back in the winning environment of the Royal Palms Resort. Full credit goes to Dead Island for backing its multiplayer favouring action with a reliable system for joining up with other players online. We played online for hours without a hitch, with equally smooth experiences playing alongside friends and match-made strangers. If you play alone, the other 3 characters aren't added in under computer control though, but they will appear in cutscenes.
This is 104.9.
Yeah. All right. Well, hang tight, 104.8, because we're coming for you, buddy. That is, if the offer still stands.
There's easily 20 hours of content in a single playthrough, and much more if you're exploring the Polynesian Paradise sandbox and messing around with trucks as much as you should be. Don't step off the boat expecting a taut horror experience, a masterful gun game, or compelling characters, and you will have a bloody good time.